everybody. My name is Bo. I'm from McKinsey, associate partner in Singapore. I'm very much privileged to be able to facilitate a discussion today with 4 distinctive panelists. The title of the session is on sustainability and transformation priorities in manufacturing. We're fortunate to invite 4 distinctive panelists. I will go around the room to introduce, let them say one thing or two. We have May Yap from Jabel. We also have Mr. Chan Hai Kiang from FlexSpeed. We have Mr. Manish Pant from Schneider Electric. We have Laknajit from SAP. Maybe we let them spend, everyone 20-30 seconds to introduce yourself briefly. We can start with May, maybe. Are you able to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Bo. Right, so very distinguished to be sitting in this panel. My name is May. I'm actually the CIO for Jabil and also the Senior VP for the company. So a quick introduction about Jabil. Jabil is a $30 billion US manufacturing company based out of Florida. We are ranked 104 among the Fortune 500 companies. So we operate out of 100 locations across 30 countries with a staff force of 260,000. So that's a quick introduction.
Very good. Maybe we pass the baton to Mr. Chan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hai Kiang from FlexSpeed Technology. FlexSpeed is actually the CNC machine tools distributor company, and we are also a system integrator for robotic automation with software solutions like ERP, IoT, and also the vertical warehousing solutions. Thank you.
Very good. Manish, please.
Thanks, Bo. And once again, very pleased to be here with this August panel here. I represent Schneider Electric. I'm the zone president for East Asia, Japan, which is, and responsible for business in this part of the world. Schneider, our purpose is to empower all to make the most of our energy and resources, bringing progress and sustainability for all. And our mission is to be the digital partner for sustainability and efficiency for our customers. We have been named as the most sustainable company in 2021 by Corporate Knights and fully understand that it brings a lot of responsibility for us. We are one of the most local of the global companies, and we work with local partners to get things done, making a real difference to the local businesses in a very powerful combination of global scale expertise and local implementation knowledge. In East Asia, Japan, we have close to about 12,000 employees, 8 production factories, and about 1,200 suppliers. Very pleased to be here with May as Jabil and Schneider Electric have a long-standing relationship in different parts of the world, especially in East Asia.
Excellent. Last but not least is Mr. Laknajit.
Hey, thank you, Bo, and hello, everyone. Immensely, pleased to be part of this distinguished panel. So my name is Laknajit. I'm based out of Singapore, and I lead the SAP Cloud ERP and Sustainability practice for Asia Pacific and Japan. SAP, as many of you might recognize, is one of the largest enterprise applications and software technology firms globally. More than 70-75% of the world's transaction, as we say, touches an SAP system. Primarily, we are known for enabling business transformation through our solutions in the space of business applications like ERP, supply chain, CRM, human capital management, experience management. But our mission statement and our purpose is to actually help companies run better and improve people's lives. And the improve people's lives is very important, which is where the whole focus on purpose around sustainability is a big topic. And I think I'm excited to be part of this discussion today and share more and learn from each of our panelists. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you all for the kind introduction. Very, very helpful for our online attendees, right, to understand where we're coming from. let's get into this, right? So how I'm going to run the session is I will be facilitating the discussion with a few guiding questions, right? So hopefully we can have a collaborative and open and fruitful conversation. First thing first, right? So across all panelists, in terms of sustainability and transformation priorities in manufacturing sectors, where do you see are the emerging themes, right? Either within your company or within your customers that are in the manufacturing sector. Maybe we can go around the room and asking each of you to share your understanding on these emerging priorities, right? Maybe we start with Manish.
All right. Thank you, Bo. Schneider is a manufacturer. We manufacture ourselves, and we drive towards a sustainable future as being acknowledged one of the most sustainable corporations. What we see is that the changing world call for industries that can very quickly and very fluidly adapt and make our manufacturing resilient as well as efficient. So, as we do it for ourselves as well as we do it for our customers, I think what we see going forward is that the approach on transformation focuses essentially on three pillars. One is sustainability, digitization, and efficiency. And we know that, as manufacturers, we face these long-standing challenges, many of which have been further exacerbated because of this global pandemic. So, if I address one by one, the first one is clearly around sustainability or limiting carbon dioxide emissions and the energy waste. So what we see is that about 32% of carbon dioxide emissions are coming from industry, both directly and indirectly. And therefore, as industrial manufacturers, we will all be required to meet stronger and more stringent sustainability targets or standards, whether it's voluntary or mandated by regulation. There also needs to consider how we can change our operation to get more appeal to customers and consumers, because they're also asking for this highly products which are meeting these sustainable goals. At the same time, what is important is that sustainability is also linked to demand management, and therefore this is where efficiency becomes quite important. What we say in Schneider is that the best energy is the energy saved, or the megawatt is the best watt, right? So it's better to save what you don't need to generate, and that leads a path to 100% renewable, which is what again most of the companies are going towards. And by saving demand, we will be able to address that much more faster. We have ourselves taken a target to reduce our Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions, and across our full value chain between 1, 2, and 3 by 2030. We have, based on the SBTi targets, we aim to reduce it by almost 30%. So Schneider Electric is here to help our customers to see how we can help them meet these sustainable goals. Now, the second thing that we are seeing is that we need to be building resiliency during these supply chain disruptions, which have come at this point of time. We read about large companies, small companies. 94% of Fortune 1000 companies have seen supply chain challenges, and at the same time, 10% have said that they are fully ready to handle the disruptions that we have seen. So clearly, it's a time to relook at it. To see how we can have multiple sources of supply, look at the processes and inventories, and using technology so that we are in control of it at all times. I would also say that the third thing is around digitization, which is how we are able to increase the remote oversight and therefore bring in efficiency. We have seen that things are getting more and more connected. Today, the energy and the process, is fully connected. Digital makes us the ability to see everything in real time and to make things visible, right? And therefore, today we are able to very efficiently manage plants remotely, whether it's through digital twin software, work in virtual real time to troubleshoot. And this is where we are adopting, and we are also bringing softwares like AVEVA and RIB that Schneider has recently acquired, so that we are able to give that seamless digital autonomy to our customers. And especially if you see in today's world where there is restricted travel and access limits, the ability to monitor these processes remotely becomes that much more so important. Finally, as we move towards sustainability, towards digitization, we need to be addressing the skills gap that are being created as a result of this, right? We need to continue to upskill the workforce that we have and make sure that we are ready for it. So for us, this is something which is very important, and we are here to contribute towards improving the skill gap of our partners and also of our suppliers. I can just mention one of the programs that Schneider has is, sustainability is going to touch all of us. So we have a very massive program where we want to work with the top 1,000 suppliers of ours, and in line with the Scope 3 commitments that we've made, to see how we are able to help them reach their decarbonization goals and bring all of us on the same platform. So I think these are some of the transformations that we see.
Excellent. Thank you, Manish, for the detailed view, right? If I were to really summarize it, there are really three things we picked up, right? Number one is the saved energy is the best energy, right? Energy efficiency is a true push for sustainability. Number two is digitization or technology enabled enablement to allow you to capture those energy saving, right? So then number three, which I think I like what you highlighted, is really the skill gaps. Nothing comes easy. There's a skill gap that, when it comes down to new technology adoption, and it looks like, Schneider Electric, you guys are equipped to support folks from upskilling the talent. Very good to know. Thank you, Manish. Maybe we switch gear to May. Maybe May, you wanted to highlight, from Jabil's perspective, where do you see the priorities?
Yeah, definitely. You see, I kind of smile a little bit, Bo, because what I'm going to talk about is very similar to what Manish was talking about, right? So we can't actually look at transformation priority in three ways in terms of system enablement in the manufacturing shop floor, right? And streamlining the processes and also upskilling. Right. So let me elaborate a little bit. Right. So we talk about, building the whole ecosystem, the IT ecosystem, the digital ecosystem for the factory, including putting in place the right MES system, the PRM system, the quality tools, upgrade of our ERP system, and, like the environmental system and so on and so forth. So all these are needed to actually help to enable the building out of the ecosystem in the factory. And that's something that we continue to do in Jabil, right? So, and then the second part of it is really streamlining the processes to remove the non-value added work. So the process that we actually take is, we can't actually look at it and simplify it, streamline it so that we can actually digitalize it. So with the digitalization, then you can visualize. With visualization, then you can actually make use of the data to actually optimize the processes, a simple process that we call DVO, right? And then while we do this, we leverage on data, analytics, machine learning to augment inspection and QA work so that we can really, really, truly optimize the process and also improve the supply chain visibility and material velocity. So the same third area that we are actually focusing on is really upskilling and educating our people, right? Educating the people within Jabil to actually teach them how to fish, right? Instead of fishing for them. While we actually talk about digitalization, it's very important that we actually educate and teach and share the knowledge on, guys, can you actually go do your visualization, report yourself? Can you do low code, no code application yourself, right? We even conduct citizen data scientist programs so that everybody can be empowered to leverage on the power of data and analytics technology. So in the next few years to come, we continue to see this, process system and people kind of actually evolving. But more importantly, right, the notion of factory of the future or industry 4.0 will not be a buzzword anymore, right? It will be the way of doing things. Is actually how we need to do things. And it needs to be integrated into the whole manufacturing process per se, right? So today we still talk about, or we still hear people talking about, hey, I'm using AI, I'm deploying AI, I'm deploying data analytics project, but that's POC. So we do actually foresee that in the next few years to come, or very short term, we wanted to build AI machine learning into our process, right? So that it becomes part and parcel of the daily work processes. And that's why I'm saying manufacturing, to me, it is shifting, right? Manufacturing will not be hardcore manufacturing anymore. It really embraces the concept of digital manufacturing, right? Where IT, OT, and ET, right, which is operation technology, engineering technology, they're emerging, and we are blurring all this IT, ET, OT through digital connectivity, and like what Manish mentioned, through the use of digital twin, right? So that's one evolution that we do actually see, and one transformation that we actually see. And we also see our customer asking us, hey, I'm not just interested in seeing a product, right? The customers are actually telling us, I'm actually interested in a product experience plus a digital experience, so that it become a complete customer experience. So that's something that we are seeing. And then today, while we actually see data, we focus data mainly on internal efficiency, productivity gain, but we are also seeing customer asking for data. We are also seeing, the opportunity for us to monetize data, right, in the very near future. So that's one aspect on digital manufacturing. And then we also see the other transformation changes in terms of sustainably manufacturing, right? So when we talk about sustainable manufacturing, it's really the creation of manufactured product through a very sound manufacturing process that actually can minimize the negative environmental impact, right? That's either through additive manufacturing, in manufacturing, and putting our commitment on environment, ESG, so that we can actually reduce on carbon emission, the water usage, the hazardous waste, and so on and so forth. So all of which are what Jabil is actually embarking on right now.
Excellent, May. Again, right, allow me to summarize it. I picked up 5 things, right? Number 1 is really embracing Industry 4.0 to the way of working. And the way to do it is to mobilize your whole organization, right? Through education, through training, through upskilling. Number 2 is the emerging of IT, OT, and ET, right? So the whole digital convergence, right? Number 3, which I really like, is you realize that your customers now are demanding or requiring, how to delight them, is providing that digital experience, right? Number 4 is you are thinking about monetizing the data. Now you're sitting on a whole body of data. How do you make it, how do you create new revenue streams off it, right? Number 5 is tweaking your manufacturing processes to focus on sustainability, more sustainable product and manufacturing processes. Yeah, thank you for your sharing. What about Mr. Chen? Now you're very active in Singapore's SME manufacturing scene. What do you see among the Singapore manufacturing sector? What are the evolving priorities out there?
Okay, thank you, Bo. Okay, to add to the other panelists, okay, from the SME perspective, sustainability actually covers 2 aspects. One is actually the business sustainability with challenges in technology disruption, health, financial, and also food crisis. And the next one is actually the environment sustainability. Okay. So now the key task is to align with the Government Green Plan 2030 together with enterprises and also employees' interests. Okay. Of course, the government has a larger concern in climate change. Now from here, the enterprises and employees' interests are commonly driven by compliance and corporate image enhancement. So waste management, reduce, reuse, and recycling, pollution control, energy conservation are often regarded as good to have practices. But you see, presently, most companies are having these practices, but actually they are already starting this first journey of sustainability. But now they need to think differently, have a different concept to bring this further. Okay, the end goal for these efforts is to preserve and enhance natural capital, minimize the use of natural primary resources, foster new systems, including leasing, extending product life, repair, and reuse. And finally, recycling of materials if all other options are exhausted. Okay. Now, for businesses, it is important to consider the entire life cycle of the hardware components when implementing sustainable solutions and not just the impact they have during their operational lifespan. Okay. In fact, all these issues affect the whole supply chain and operating costs. Example, input. Material yield affect cost. Process improvement reduces energy. Usage and task reduce cost. Output to improve. Delivery efficiency reduces petrol. Thus, the logistics cost is reduced. Now, with more countries and customers requiring sustainability measures, Soon it may have to comply with this to get new business and remain competitive. So this actually is a cultural mindset change. Okay, especially being a robotics and automation digital solution provider, we see many companies having difficulties in hiring employees, and with increasing operating costs, companies are now more willing to explore adopting robotics and digital solutions to mitigate some of these challenges. Example, using sensors to track energy consumption for their machines. Okay. Now, companies are also not just adopting robotic solutions for their machine tending, but also requesting adoption of digital solutions like Internet of Things, ERP, MES, to enhance their productivity and increase their efficiency. Okay. For the sustainability, the Trade Association, Singapore Precision Engineering and Technology Association, and Singapore Manufacturing Federation has a sustainability team to help their members with methodology from awareness, advisory, to adoption. So you can contact them for more information. Okay.
Okay, very good, Mr. Chan. So what I'm hearing are two things, right? One, you're saying basically is there is a slow change in mindset among the SMEs that now they needed to focus on sustainability because the broader business environment has changed, right? Because of the regulatory shift, right, in across the ecosystem, right? They have to change, right, to survive, right, to still be competitive. The second thing you mentioned is also, we're thankful that in Singapore there are TACs, there are government agencies that are doing some practical support for SMEs to understand sustainability push and priorities. Hopefully they can pivot their business processes changes, right, in order to have a substantial improvement in the way that they can tackle those priorities. Yeah, Mr. Chan?
Yes, correct.
Okay, excellent, good. So maybe I would also like to invite Mr. Laknajit to talk about how you see those priorities.
Thanks, Bo. I think, glad to come in at number 4 because most of my panelists have actually, phrased and coined all the terms. And I'm happy to be in this space because I'm representing SAP, which is a digital transformation and technology company. But I think all the users and all the panelists have already covered about the relevance of technology and digital. So that's great. But I think coming from my perspective, and coming from SAP's perspective, we have had 4 decades of experience in business technology, ERP, supply chain solutions. We have seen some distinctive shifts in the last 5 years, right? So the first shift that I see from a transformation standpoint in manufacturing, for us, manufacturing represents nearly 60% of our 400,000 customers that we have. And what number one shift we see is the shift from just cost reduction and productivity improvements towards now more of building resiliency into supply chains, building intelligence into supply chains, and building sustainability into supply chains. Whenever in the last decade, we used to talk to companies and senior C-level executives in manufacturing organizations, the emphasis was always used to be, how do I bring down my enterprise cost? How do I bring down my cost of manufacturing, my cost of raw materials? How do I optimize my overall value chain? That still remains fundamental. But the pandemic and the volatility that we have seen that has been triggered by the pandemic has actually accelerated the other priorities. So customers are not only looking at bringing down costs and improving operational efficiencies, they're actually looking at how do we actually stay relevant in volatile situations? How do we maintain business continuity? As an example, I would say, when global supply chains were disrupted heavily during the pandemic, all of the supplier, all the strategies around having a globally dispersed supply chain may not actually have yielded the results that companies were originally looking for. And I think there is a need to now relook at the way the whole supply chain is designed, and especially when it comes to things like sourcing and procurement, for example. So I think this whole, supply chain resiliency is one big theme that we see. The other topic is about building in intelligence as well, because now it's no longer just enough to actually look at data in retrospective terms and analyze historical performance data, and then we look at trends. It's really, where I think some of my panelists also mentioned the use of technologies like machine learning or IoT and even robotics process automation, for example. So we are increasingly seeing the adoption of these digital technologies to bring in an element of predictability as well. So how do you predict the demand? How do you predict the supply? How do you predict the disruptions before the disruptions have happened? And that prediction capability gives manufacturers the ability to control and preemptively address the issues before the issues happen. And we see that in many industries. One example is asset management in utilities and also manufacturing, where predictive maintenance has become a big topic. So that was the second theme, bringing in intelligence into the supply chain. The third theme from a transformation priority that we definitely see is, and all of the panelists have talked about, is building sustainability. I think sustainability also, Mr. Chan mentioned, could be business sustainability. I'll focus a bit more on the ESG sustainability or the environment. And I will use in ESG because in ESG includes environmental, social, and governance, all the three parameters. So, and I think this is becoming an increasingly key topic. We have seen, for example, a number of drivers. Sustainability investments have increased by over 30-35% in the last 5 years. On top of that, I think even if now consumers are looking at increasingly making more sustainable choices when it comes to products. Also, workforce-wise, when we look at today's Generation Y and millennials, they are looking at joining companies who have a sustainable purpose. So it's not just about getting up your market share or driving it as a social responsibility. It's also sustainability is profitable and profits can be sustainable, right? So that is what we are actually seeing. In that context, the specific areas which perhaps I would like to elaborate would be, what we see is that you can't actually manage what you can't measure. So one of the big challenges in sustainability is how do customers actually look at where they are from a decarbonization perspective? How do they start measuring it where the baseline is? And that's where the power of data and analytics comes in. And how do you use that to basically then derive your strategies? So yeah, so I would say these are the three shifts from a transformation perspective, building in more resiliency, intelligence, and sustainability into the supply chain.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Laknajit. Thank you for putting it across three very important themes when it comes down to supply chain. Right? Very good. I think this is very, very insightful, right? Coming from different angles. Some of you are in the manufacturing scene, some of you are solution providers as well. Maybe let's go. The second question is a bit more specific, right? Maybe I would like to invite May and Manish, right? Just cite one recent transformation success, one example, right? It can be in manufacturing transformation. It can also be in sustainability front, right? In that one success story, let's talk a little bit about, what was the reason that it became successful in your organization, and what is a valuable lesson that you would like to share, right, to the broader community? Yeah, maybe I will start with Manish. Is that okay, Manish? Let's quote one example.
Sure. So, here in this region, we have 8 plants. We have large ones, like we have one in Batam with 2,500 employees, which is actually a lighthouse factory designated by World Economic Forum. In Vietnam, we have, I would say, mid-size with 1,000 employees, and then also in Korea, which has about 40 employees. So, clearly across the spectrum. And what I would like to share is that we have been deploying those smart technologies, and some of that were pointed out before by May, by Laknajit, and also by Mr. Chan, that we have been able to bring augmented reality, power monitoring, resource advisor. I think the point that Laknajit was mentioning before, of how you're able to monitor your resources inside the company, from whether it's about energy, whether it's about water, through different sensors that you're putting on your factory floor, and also in your building. So this is what we have been able to do, and in line with what we had discussed about earlier, and as was pointed out by others around integration of energy and automation, as well as software and digitization, the benefits, and I think this is what I can share, what was the outcome. So we have seen that our operational efficiency, quality, waste, quality has improved and waste has been lowered by about 20%. So this is one. Then what we have seen is that thanks to digitization and the ability to make those decisions by doing that analysis that is now available thanks to the data, we have been able to improve the productivity by 10%. And then, with the end-to-end, I would say, designing of the processes, we have been able to decrease both the processes as well as product, right? We've been able to decrease the engineering cost and a commissioning time by almost 20%. So clearly, there are benefits that come back, and the investments that we are making, they are able to have a much higher payback period, a much faster payback. When I say higher, a much faster payback in terms of the investments that we are making. So this has been very encouraging, and we are, as a company, we are fully committed to driving our sustainability goals, and in terms of reducing carbon dioxide, which I mentioned before, and also to ensure that the products that we manufacture are coming from all green products that will constitute, I would say, almost 80% of what we are going to manufacture. So gives us a confidence that we can go faster thanks to all these deployments that we have been making in our factories, whether it's large or small, right, all across.
Very good, Manish. It sounds like that the lesson here is really to focus on what moves the needle, right, in terms of productivity or sustainability impact, and then developing the specific use cases while you can leverage the power of data, right? Sensorized facility. Right? I think that is, to me, is the biggest takeaway, at least when I heard the success story that you articulated, Manish.
Thank you.
Great, thank you, Manish. May, maybe you can quote one example and say, why this worked in Jabil, and what is the learning for you and your organization?
Yeah, definitely. So thanks, Bo. Right. So I think I shared earlier on digital manufacturing, the concept about digital manufacturing and what make it possible, right, is really when IT, ET, and OT emerged together due to digital connectivity. So what Manish said really resonated in me earlier, right? So in Jabil, we actually see a lot of opportunity, and we have actually run a lot of use cases that actually start to embark the use of digital twin, right? So digital twin in product design, the MPI stage, right, where we can actually build the virtual prototype during the design phases and share with the customer, and actually have them actually kind of view it and understand it. So that MPI engagement itself through digital twin actually help us save a lot of time and cost by reducing the number of iteration that we need in the MPI stage itself, right? So that's one aspect of it. And then I also talk about machine connectivity. IoT is a main part of what we're doing, right? When we talk about digital factory. So we connected majority of our machines, right? Because we do need the data to actually understand and get the feelers of, what's happening to the machine, what is the machine telling us, what are the analytics that I can actually get from the machine. So while I actually connect the machines, I actually start to build a digital twin, a fleet of the digital, replica of all the machine performance digitally, right? So while I have all the machine connected physically, I have a replica of what is happening to each of the machine digitally. So I can actually monitor them. But besides monitoring them, right, what's more important is that when I actually do see, hey, one of the machine digitally, it actually kind of slow down, or when it actually stop working, we will want to actually understand what is happening, right? Is it actually out for maintenance, right? Is it actually something that is not within maintenance? And that actually helps me to do a lot of predictive maintenance per se. So in the past, I used to think about, when people talk about predictive maintenance, it's a little bit far-fetched. But once I actually set up all the connectivity and setting up the digital twin of my machine, I have a better appreciation on how do I actually start to do predictive maintenance, right? So that's another aspect of it. And then we also actually start to connect and start to do our industrial engineering planning through the use of AR, right? And combining that through the digital twin so that we can actually lay out our shop floor much easier and share that, that factory building experience with our customers. So those are some of the things that we are seeing and we are doing from the digital manufacturing perspective.
Very good. I like the example you've given, right? It's really the pushing the application of a digital twin, right? You talk about three things. One is engaging your customer in the NPI process, right? Two is having a digital twin on the overall equipment running status, where it allows you to better design your maintenance strategy, right? And three is your facility, right? You can engage your customer. You can also plan your production flow better, right? So this is really a very top-notch application of the Industry 4.0 to harness productivity gain for your business, right? Thank you very much. Let's go to, given the time constraint, let's go to the last question, right? This is really about taking a step back, right? Especially for the audience, online or offline. How do you guys see as panelists the opportunities for the various ecosystem, right, to collaborate better, right, in terms of promoting collaboration among stakeholders, in terms of enabling more companies to undertake transformation, either in the manufacturing themes or in the sustainability themes, right? I would like to maybe go around the table. Let's this time around start with Mr. Laknajit. Would you like to share your view?
Yeah, thanks, Bo. I think, this is a great question, and I'll look at it in the two lenses that you said. I'll start with sustainability, and I think what we are seeing is again a little bit of a role of a shift from a linear economy to a circular economy, and I think the linear economy, as we know, is also all about taking, making, and then disposing, right? And that's the way the linear economy works. Now, in a sustainable world, we want to build in circularity principles, and which is where the role of the ecosystem comes in. So you need to have absolutely the collaboration between all your suppliers, all your manufacturers, all your distribution, and that collaboration also means that there is a need for end-to-end supply chain visibility, and it is also integrated better planning and optimization of the whole planning piece, because you can only have circularity if you start working with your vendors and with your partners upfront, and you plan the circularity right upfront from demand planning to sales and operations planning, and then bring it back towards the recycling piece. So I think the move from a linear economy to a circular economy is one key trend which is driving the need for collaboration. And of course, as my colleagues have said, basically digitization plays a big role here. And as SAP, for example, we do have all those enablers that we bring in to enable this whole circular economy with a combination of all the solutions. So I think that was the role of the ecosystem. The other thing I would say from a supply chain perspective would be the power of business networks. So increasingly we are seeing now that everything is operating in a network economy. And I think May spoke about a digital twin concept. I would extend it even further to say that now for a digital twin also you can have an asset intelligence network, where basically if you have to manage the entire operations of maintenance, working with the OEMs, and even there we are talking about OEMs coming together in a network. Similarly, on the procurement side, we are talking about suppliers coming together on a network. And for us at SAP, that is our Ariba Business Network, which is what we basically we use it to drive the whole supply chain collaboration. So yes, so I think now we are increasingly seeing whether it is logistics partners, whether it is procurement partners. These are the two areas of collaboration. So supply chain collaboration is a key theme from an ecosystem perspective.
Very good. We still have time to maybe invite one more panelist to comment on this question. Collaboration model. Who would like to raise your point? May, maybe? Would you like to wrap it up?
If I can share, right? I really wanted to share the point of view from Jaber on sustainable manufacturing, right? So I said earlier in early 2021, we conducted a stakeholder engagement with our employees, with our customers, suppliers, and other stakeholders to really understand what are the challenges that people are facing on social and environmental challenges. So we established a strategy based on the findings, right? And built 3 pillars to align with our strategy. So it aligns with our people and communities, right? So we really wanted to focus on the health and the well-being of our people and the community in which we operate. So when we talk about sustainable manufacturing, we also talk about we wanted to share. And then I'm very proud to say that in 2018, we actually opened our digital lab in Singapore, right? So which is actually to serve the whole community. And that was actually opened by Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Tharman at that time. So the whole objective of the digital lab is that we invite the unions, the various industry, the SMEs, the academia, the students to actually come in and actually learn about what are the new technology, what are some of the sustainable manufacturing technology and techniques that we have, right? So that we can actually share that around. So that's like building the community of practice in terms of the first pillar. And then the second pillar that we are talking about is really our operation and resources. We wanted to ensure that we operate and manage our resources in all sites as efficiently as possible. And then the third one is really our innovation solution, delivering the sustainable innovation throughout the whole product life cycle. So through our intelligence in material science, right, we are able to actually give our customer more sustainable products. So if you're interested, you can actually look at one of the company that we acquired in January this year, right, which is called Ecologic, where we actually changed the whole concept about packaging. Right, so it is, you know, if you think about packaging, plastic bottles, that's not environmental friendly. So Ecologic actually provides the solution that we actually provide biodegradable, you know, paper packaging for our CPG customers. So there's a lot of CPG customers that's actually embracing this kind of sustainable, you know, manufacturing process nowadays. So that's really our point of view on how we wanted to actually take a stand in sustainable manufacturing.
Very good. So it's about educating the community, engaging your customers and suppliers, even considering acquisition of cutting edge technology partners. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you all for this wonderful discussion. And for those who have questions, we're happy to take it offline. Appreciate it. And let's wrap up this panel discussion. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.